And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Suzanne Heaston, and it has been a distinct pleasure to serve as the chair of Visit Tri-Cities for the past 2 years. Activities and achievements this year have created such a dynamic infrastructure for really catapulting tourism and a catalyst for community transformation. We've implemented a new community brand, we've launched a new website, introduced 2 publications, assisted in the planning for the dedication of the new National Historical Park, and this all in addition to managing our other great programs. We really are creating a powerful legacy for a very bright future. It is only fitting then that we celebrate this year's accomplishments with the theme, Powerful Legacy, Bright Future. I am so very proud of this organization's recent accomplishments, and in a few minutes, Chris Watkins, our CEO, will outline all of the year's activities, as well as the projects that we'll focus on in the coming year. We are so very fortunate to have talented professionals who serve on our board of directors. And as the chair, I greatly appreciate their support and their willingness to commit time and energy to build a better community by creating a strong tourism industry. I would like to recognize the 2015 Board of Directors. Board members, could you please stand when I call your name and remain standing? And audience, you know the request, please clap when everybody's standing. I'll begin with the Executive Board. We have Rich Cummins, our first Vice Chair, Ron Foraker, Vice Chair, Don Hart, Vice Chair, Kathy Moore, Vice Chair, Ron Huey, our Treasurer, John Neal, our past Chair, Ken Miller, our Legal Counsel, Monty Nail, our CPA, and the full Board of Directors, starting with Carl Adrian, Commissioner Don Barnes, Jerry Beach, Commissioner Jim Beaver, Troy Berglund, Karen Blaisdell, Mark Blotz, Debbie Bone Harris, John Bookwalter, Gloria Boyce, Christine Brown, Senator Sharon Brown, Mayor Pro Tem Rich Buell, John Crook, Colleen French, Councilman Mike Garrison, Representative Larry Haler, Monica Hammerberg, Scott Keller, Lori Lancaster, Councilman Phil Lemley, Lori Mattson, Greg McConnell, Karen Miller, Ian Napier, Todd Nelson, Justin Raffa, Rob Roxburgh, Vijay Patel, Corey Pearson, Steve Simmons, Tony Umek, Martine Valadez, Ray Weil, and Mayor Steve Young. Please join me in thanking our 2015 Board of Directors. Not yet. We'd also like to recognize our outgoing board members who have completed their terms. Lori Lancaster with Benton Franklin Fair and Rodeo served us for 7 years. We appreciate the time she dedicated while serving on our board. She was not able to be with us this morning, so we'll present her plaque privately to her. John, could you come up? John Neal. John has selflessly served our organization for more than 6 years. You have provided expert business and financial guidance and sage leadership to all of us. Having been both the board chair and the past chair, you've been a wise sounding board, and you've always answered the call when we've asked for assistance. It has been an honor to serve with you. Thank you, John. Now I'd like to introduce Don Hart, who participated on this year's nominating committee. Don, please join me for the election of new board members.
Thank you, Suzanne. Before I present the nomination of new board members for approval, I would like to recognize and thank my fellow nominating committee members for their hard work. You know, if you have a community that's bigger, bolder, and brighter, it's important to keep new growth coming in and competent board people. This year's nominating committee was chaired by Rich Cummins as part of his duties as first vice chair. Rich was assisted by 5 other board members in addition to myself in identifying a slate of candidates for your consideration. The committee included Council Member Philip Lemley, Kathy Moore, Corey Pearson, Justin Raffa, and Steve Simmons. On behalf of the Board of Directors and our membership, we thank each of you for your service to our organization. According to the bylaws, each year, subject to the approval of the Board of Directors, a minimum of 5 members in good standing are nominated to serve the board. It is the duty of the nominating committee to secure nominees for elective 3-year directorships. The 5 nominees presented by the nominating committee for 3-year terms are Christine Brown, Town Share Media; Shay Frigette, Frigette Winery; Maynard Plahuta, B-Reactor Museum Association; Justin Raffa, Mid-Columbia Master Singers; and Rob Roxburgh, Washington River Protection Solutions. Suzanne, I now turn the meeting back to you for the election.
May I please have a motion from the membership to approve the 2016 slate of new board members? Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Ian. All in favor signify by stating aye. Those opposed signify by stating nay. Good. Motion carries. Welcome and congratulations to the new board members. And thank you, Don. And now it's time to hear from our CEO and President, Chris Watkins. Chris will be presenting the 2015 Tourism Update.
Good afternoon, everyone. And what a day it is today. I think it's like Christmas or Christmas Eve and getting a big present called a national park in our own backyard, and I'm just absolutely thrilled. So again, this is our 46th annual meeting. I think this is going on my 22nd annual meeting, and it's always a pleasure each year, and I always look forward to it. So. You know, to state that this year was anything other than bigger, bolder, brighter would simply be an understatement. And after I finish telling you about all the great things we are working on to create a powerful legacy, I think you'll all agree that the long-term outlook for the Tri-Cities region is looking even better for our communities and, of course, the tourism industry. And never before in the history of our organization have we taken on more new projects and added more new programs. This level of commitment to create a legacy for a bright future in tourism could not be reached without the leadership and hard work of our board members, who were led by Chair Suzanne Heaston. And Suzanne has chaired our board for the last 2 years, and for anyone who has worked with Suzanne, I think you know that she is one of the most hardworking, loyal, great leaders that you could ask for. And I'd like to just take this moment to thank her in public and also give her a token of our appreciation. Great work. Thank you, Suzanne. I also work with a very dynamic and dedicated team of professionals who promote, market, and sell this region as a preferred destination for visitors. And I'd like to take just a few minutes to introduce them to you, and I'll ask that they stand. And audience, please hold your applause until they're all standing. First of all, under operations and administrations, I have Kim Sugart, my Senior Vice President, Gretchen Guerrero, our Operations Manager, Mary Spanner, our Information Specialist. Under Membership Department, we have Michelle Chun, Director of Community Relations, Summer Mia, Visitor and Member Services. Under Sports Sales and Marketing, Hector Cruz, Director of Sports Development. Now, Hector's not with us this afternoon. He is out at a national trade show recruiting big sports groups for the Tri-Cities region. But in his place, we have Ellie Moore, who's our Senior Sales Sports Manager and Community Outreach. Alicia Brown, who handles Group Services and Housing Coordinator. Under Convention Sales and Marketing, we have Laura Watkins, Director of Convention Sales. Maria Wally, Convention Sales Manager, Chelsea Armstrong, Convention Sales Manager, Kelly Merrick, our Sales Administrative Assistant, and then we have under Destination Marketing, Carissa Sayers, our Marketing Manager, and Heather Willoughby, Graphic Design Manager. And I consider myself very fortunate every day when I walk through that door. What a great team that we have representing the Tri-Cities region. I'd like you to all join me in saying thank you to this great team of professionals. So with that, let me dig right in to tell you about what was bigger, what was bolder and brighter and better this year. First of all, the lodging industry became a whole lot bigger. This year we added 3 new hotel properties, we reopened an existing property, and broke ground on 2 additional hotels which are scheduled to open in 2016. In 2015, that was 506 guest rooms were added to the market, which was an increase of 15% of our inventory. And now consumers have more brands to consider and more reasons to choose Tri-Cities as their travel destination. And even with this growth, we have been able to increase the number of guest rooms sold over the previous year by 8.6%. The future is looking very bright indeed in the Tri-Cities. And under bigger, Visitor Tri-Cities membership is growing. We're celebrating 760 dues-paying members this year, which makes us the 2nd largest destination marketing organization in the state of Washington. Visit Tri-Cities has been very successful in creating and providing services for a number of councils that are organized to provide focus on key areas of the tourism industry. And so for a number of years, Visit Tri-Cities has managed the Tri-Cities River Shore Enhancement Council and the Tri-Cities Sports Council. And these councils are made up of top-level professionals in each of their respective disciplines, and each of their respective disciplines whose role is to act as a think tank on how to further advance each of these subjects and create a stronger product for our overall community. It's with that in mind that in 2015, we added a wine tourism as our primary focus and formed the Mid-Columbia Wine Tourism Council to advance the important segment of our tourism portfolio. So all I have to say is, watch out, Napa, here we come. And Visit Tri-Cities became much bolder this year, bolder in the number of trade shows we attended across the nation, and bolder in the ways that we promote the Tri-Cities. This last year, we ran 231 destination television commercials in the Puget Sound region, and in the fall, we ran 339 commercials, which also included the Portland and Spokane markets as well. And speaking of bold, we pledge financial support along with TRIDEC and other important community partners for a recruitment of a direct flight from Los Angeles to the Tri-Cities area. And we're very, very pleased that the Port of Pasco was successful. And next year at this time, we'll be welcoming business and leisure travelers flying to the Tri-Cities directly from Southern California. And their first impression, along with many others flying into the Tri-Cities, will be a very positive experience with our newly expanded, bigger, bolder, and brighter Tri-Cities airport. We've also been supporting the community's efforts to create a brighter outlook for our region throughout with our community branding, along with TriDec and the Tri-Cities Regional Chamber, as well as all of the chambers, as well as all of the communities. This really has been a very successful overall brand. The group formed a very important committee called the Brand Leadership Implementation Leadership Team, and they've been hard at work. We have formed committees such as marketing, brand development, and festival committee. So you're going to be seeing a lot of our brand over the next couple years. Visit Tri-Cities has incorporated the new brand into our overall marketing, and the look is definitely brighter and better. We've updated our television commercials, print ads, and brochures. And new this year was the development of an arts and culture brochure, a wine and art trail map, and a shop and dine brochure. And I'm also pleased to announce that we've just launched a brighter, mobile-friendly website. So if you have a chance to visit our booth just at the trade show this afternoon, please feel free to stop by and our staff will show you where your business listing is located on our website. We've also invested in making the Tri-Cities better, and thanks to our corporate sponsor WRPS, we were able to invest in a new interactive visitor information station in the Tri-Cities Airport. So beginning in 2016, passengers will be able to take advantage of a touchscreen technology, and they'll be able to research the attractions and businesses and all the great things there is to do in the Tri-Cities region. And last but not least, better, along with the members of the National Park Advocacy Committee, we've been working with the Department of Energy as well as National Parks to prepare for the inclusion of Hanford and the B reactor in the Manhattan Project National Historical Park. There's really, like I mentioned, nothing better than having a national park in your backyard, especially if you're a destination marketing organization, because that's just made my job so much easier. And as a result of the national park, it is expected that the Tri-Cities will see substantial increases in visitors traveling to the region each year, and many of these visitors will add pre- and post-days in order to enjoy our golf and our wineries and our museums and interpretive centers and other things to do in the Tri-Cities. So I'm not the first, nor will I be the last, to say that the Manhattan Project National Historical Park is a game changer for tourism and the entire Tri-Cities community. In closing, I'd like to thank again the cities of Kennewick, Pasco, Richland, and West Richland. We just renewed our 5-year contracts with the cities. We thank the leadership, we thank the staff with all 4 cities. And I'd like to thank and acknowledge our Diamond members, investors that have helped elevate tourism to a new level. My sincere thanks goes to WRPS for their overall investment in all of our programs, and Bechtel National, who has been our corporate sponsor for Rivershore Enhancement Council for the past 15 years, Battelle for sponsoring our heritage and eco-tourism programs for 14 years, MSA for sponsoring all of our marketing and media outreach, and the Three Rivers Convention Center and Toyota Center for not only their sponsorship of our convention marketing efforts, but also their hard work in helping us to put on this event this evening. In addition, I'd like to thank Nick Wagner. He's always back there taping the program, and we will be showing, and this will be running particularly the National Parks section of this, and it'll be playing between now and the end of the year. So this concludes my report, and I want to thank you all, the membership, for investing in the Tri-Cities. On behalf of my staff and our board, we thank you, and it's definitely been my privilege to be able to serve as your representative of tourism for the Tri-Cities region. Thank you. It is now my privilege to introduce Colleen French, but I'm not going to call her up here just right yet. She just did such a fabulous job today at a community function where that space was limited, but she had, I can't believe she pulled this one off, but she just pulled it off so well. She had 4th graders, and I think you had a couple hundred 4th graders in there, and they were more well-behaved than most adults that I know, and they sat there so patiently. So your vision was wonderful, and it was just seamless. Colleen, as most of you know, is the program manager for the Manhattan Project National Historical Park, and will have the responsibility of working with national parks, with DOE headquarters, with our community, all 4 cities and 2 counties and 3 port districts and our citizens. And she also works with our partners in Los Alamos and Oak Ridge. I have had really the great opportunity of working with Colleen for at least the past 11 years on the B reactor as well as the Manhattan Project. And I can attest firsthand of her focus, her great enthusiasm, and she has worked tirelessly to create the Manhattan Project National Historical Park. So with that, please join me in welcoming Colleen to introduce our keynote speaker. Thank you.
Hello. I could not be prouder to stand up here on behalf of the Department of Energy for the Manhattan Project National Historical Park, our nation's newest national park. And what a day it was today as we had 250 bright, smiling fourth graders out there learning all about our amazing past out at the Hanford site. We've been working on saving B reactor and getting public access to the historic areas of the site for well over a decade, and many of you in this room have been a part of that. And really with the B Reactor Museum Association folks leading the way. So Burma, thank you. We are all in your debt. Thank you very much. As the new park was created this week by the signing of an agreement between the Secretary of Energy and the Secretary of Interior, the National Park Service became our new partner here in this community and here at the Hanford site. And I don't have to tell any of you what an amazing opportunity this is. These folks are the gold standard. I mean, they are the best in the business, and we're just thrilled to have them here. But what I will tell you is what I've learned working closely with their team since February, and that is that these are just really, really good folks. They are passionate, they are skilled, they are creative, they're collaborative. They bring a whole lot of new energy to this landscape and are so very dedicated to telling the story of the Hanford site's role in the Manhattan Project. And one of the best is tonight's keynote speaker. Chip Jenkins is the Deputy Director of the National Park Service's Pacific West region, and in that role, he's responsible for all 18 now of the national parks in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. And he also manages cultural resources, natural resources, planning, and environmental compliance. So he's got his finger on the pulse of the Northwest for sure. He's a great public servant and a friend to the Hanford site. Ladies and gentlemen, Chip Jenkins.
That was perfect after an introduction like that. Man, I was thinking while you were talking, I was sitting there going, wow, I wish my 16-year-old son would hear you say that. Thanks so much. You know, the real reason they invite us to the Park Service to come and speak to you guys is because we bring pictures. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and speak with you today, because it is such an honor. This has been such a big week. It is not often, it is not common that a new national park is created, as through all of your work has happened this week. So thank you very much for having me here. I think it's when you say national park, let's just talk a little bit about what is it that comes to mind, right? For many people, it can be the slack-jaw beauty of stunning landscapes. For some, it may be our shared history of 10,000 years of people living here and continuing to live here. Some, it's pride in our country, places that have shaped who we are as a country and our place on the world. Parks are also known as outstanding places to conduct research and have science. We have a saying, science for parks, parks for science. There are places where we have fought over what is right and wrong that has helped shape us as a country and as a people. The national park system, some of us think of it as being the largest educational campus system in the United States, perhaps even in the world, with over 400 individual campuses where students and educators can go and they can see authentic heritage and learn about that, places where we can teach our children about who we are. Some of the places in the parks teach us about the sacrifice that many people have made to shape us and shape our country. And there's some that think this about our national park system. I think what most of us in the Park Service want people to know is that this is actually your national park system. These places, your places, including the Statue of Liberty, the Grand Canyon, but they are also in every single state of the country, District of Columbia, American Samoa, Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. Some of the parks are well known, others less so. Most of them commemorate places and stories that have affected our country. Places such as Independence, Gettysburg, women's rights in Seneca Falls, New York. And there are 408 units, except this week, we added a new one, right? So let's hear from my boss.
The National Park Service is very proud to announce the signing of the agreement with the Department of Energy that establishes the Manhattan Project National Historical Park. This day would not be possible without the active involvement of the communities and the individuals in Hanford, Los Alamos, and Oak Ridge. I really want to emphasize that your advocacy for these sites, this story, really drove, finally, Congress acting and establishing this newest unit of the National Park Service. We could not be more proud to work with you in this partnership park with each of the communities as well as the Department of Energy. I personally have had some active involvement in this since I served as the regional director in the Pacific West with the responsibilities for part of the planning specific to Hanford. But we always went into this recognizing that all three sites are incredibly important, have unique stories of their own, but together tell an incredible period of American history in both the utilization and development of the atomic bomb. There are deep stories here, deep lessons to be learned. We want to partner with you. We need your active engagement in the next phase of this project, as we will be working with you in the planning, execution, development of the exhibitry, and storytelling of the Manhattan Project. We will also be working with the country of Japan, and obviously because of the utilization of the atomic bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima are important components to this story as well. So I look forward to working with all of you. The National Park Service is incredibly proud to be part of this story.
Many people believe the national parks have always been there, or that there is some sort of automatic process. Others believe that the national parks are actually created by the National Park Service. The reality is that parks are created as a result of hard work by dedicated people that have a long-term vision and a tremendous amount of tenacity. That's the story of this place. That's the story of the B reactor. That's the story of Manhattan sites. It's the story of all 408 units of the National Park System, even Yellowstone, even Yosemite, even the Grand Canyon. It's the hard work and dedication of individuals and organizations in this community that translated into the creation of this park this week. We in the Park Service, we believe it's really critically important that people throughout the country understand this is how it works, and we're honored to be invited into your community. And I think it's important to take a couple of minutes here to just kind of recognize some that have made this happen. In 2003, the B Reactor Museum Association started the process to have the B reactor designated as a National Historic Landmark. It took 5 years. 2008, it was added as one of the 2,500 National Historic Landmarks. These are places that possess exceptional value in commemorating and illustrating the history of the United States. Other National Historic Landmarks include Thomas Jefferson's core area, the University of Virginia, and the United States Capitol. That's how significant this place is. Members, past and present, of the B Reactor Association work to raise public awareness, provide access, create exhibits, and overall led the charge for creating the National Historical Park. To all of you in Burma, from the National Park Service, thank you for this gift. The Tri-Cities community, credit to all of you who live and work here, that you have recognized the national and the international significance of what went on here. You worked for decades on the cleanup of the site. You've worked to prevent the B reactor from being demolished and torn down. You've worked to provide public access and to promote people to come and visit and learn and try to understand the scientific achievements and the earth-changing or the world-changing events that happened here. So from the National Park Service to the members of the community here, thank you for this gift. Department of Energy, our sister agency in the federal government. Credit to all of you in DOE that recognized the national significance of this place and worked and obtained the commitment in 2002 to actually maintain the B reactor and turn it into a museum, even though you've been really clear you're not in the museum business. I don't know. You've been doing a pretty good job. You've been doing a pretty good job. And also for all of the support that you've had for creating the National Historical Park. And of course, all of you working with our elected officials. Mr. Hastings, who supported the National Historic Landmark designation, Senators Patty Murray and Cantwell and Mr. Hastings working through some unusual avenues in order to be able to have the legislation passed that designated the park. And also in this picture, I think, though not an elected official, a special shout out to Colleen French, who's really been probably the greatest champion in the federal family in terms of championing, putting this forward and moving this to creation. Thanks, Colleen. Julia, you should be proud of your mom. So this week, on Tuesday, Secretary of Interior Sally Jewell and Secretary of Energy Ernest Moniz signed the agreement that establishes the Manhattan Project's National Historical Park, the 409th unit of the National Park Service. Some of you in the room here were there. Congratulations, it's pretty neat. It's an enormous effort, an enormous task has been done, but there's a lot to go forward. And people are wondering, so what are the next steps? Where does this go? What does it mean? Many people are watching. So I'm happy to talk a little bit about what's going to happen. The agreement directs that the National Park Service and the Department of Energy will work together to preserve and protect while providing access to the historic resources in the Manhattan projects. Several things are going to be going on. Fundamentally, this is a partnership park. The National Park Service is going to work closely with the Department of Energy and with the three communities, Tri-Cities, Los Alamos, and Oak Ridge, on standing up this park, on providing access, preserving our heritage. All of the work that you've done is going to serve as a foundation for us to continue to build upon. Over the next year, the Park Service is going to work on some foundational planning efforts where we establish kind of the fundamental resources and values of the parks that will guide future operations. Later, the Park Service will work with our partners and with ample public input to develop plans on access and operations. We also know this, that for the entire Manhattan Project, more than 600,000 Americans, from physicists to bakers, chemists to construction workers, mathematicians to school teachers, left their homes and their families to work on a project that they really didn't know exactly what they were doing, but they knew that it was vital. They knew that their work was going to make a difference. Of the three sites, Hanford is the can-do spot. Hanford is the place where massive amount of scientific research and technological innovation was brought together and implemented. It was put to use. It is a legacy that is tangible, and it lives on today. It's where theory met practical reality. Having ushered in the event that changed the course of human history, the Manhattan Project determined how the Cold War would be fought while setting a precedent of remarkable scientific achievement for the United States during the second half of the 20th century. It's a precedent that is still with us, as evident by the debate around nuclear weapons that is even going on as part of presidential elections. The National Park Service is committed to telling the complete and complex story of the Manhattan Project, including the wartime context for the start of the project, the impact of the use of the nuclear weapons, and the related ethical questions that remain a part of our heritage. The Park Service has been in correspondence with the Japanese Embassy in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo, and mayors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki regarding the establishment of the park. The signing of the agreement between the Department of Interior and the Department of Energy is just the next step in a long process of standing up the park. Tours are going to continue, thanks to our partners with the Department of Energy and to the terrific docents of Burma. Tours are going to continue to be offered primarily during the summer months, and depending upon how work goes in terms of historic renovation, if we're able to get some climate control into the building, we'll be able to move to year-round tours, particularly helpful related to schools. Over time, the Park Service is going to help work to inform how additional interpretation and education will occur. Thank you, Department of Energy, for all of the work that you've been doing in terms of the cleanup that has made it safe for people of all ages to now be able to visit the reactor. Today, 250 fourth graders, the first school kids, to be able to go out and visit the site. That's really a remarkable achievement, and it's foundational to what we want to try to do as we move forward into the future. As I said earlier, the park system, we view it as a place of learning. It's a place where students and educators can come and learn about their heritage. What better place than to be able to step foot literally in the place where the nuclear age began. And Julia was one of our first fourth graders, right? Yep, wave your hands. So the Park Service, for many, many years, has found that the best way that we can manage parks and that we can provide interpretation and education is by involving people who are really smart and know a lot about different subjects. To that end, the Park Service convened a forum of scholars and experts from across the country and from the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki to come and represent a wide range of expertise, including scientific, historical, political, social, environmental, and ethical perspectives. And they met earlier this week, Monday and Tuesday, in Washington, D.C., in a scholars forum that's going to help inform all of us as we put together the ongoing plans for standing up this park. The website is up and operational. People can now go to the Park Service homepage and be able to navigate and begin to find information about the park and connect to visitor information. And then, of course, there's the question about Park Service presence. We are going to have a National Park Service superintendent. That person will be based in Denver, Colorado, in a central office that we have here. And then we are going to have a site manager that will be located, one site manager in each of the 3 locations. And as budget permits, we will look at standing up additional staff and additional expertise. One of the primary purposes of the site managers will be to continue to nurture, maintain, and grow the partnerships that are already in place, and hopefully new ones yet to come. And then, starting next year, it's the 100th anniversary of your national park system. We're inviting the Tri-Cities communities to join us and other stakeholders in using the centennial as a way to help people find their parks, including the Manhattan projects. And let me just show you a little bit about what is in store for this 100th anniversary.
America, land of the free, home of the brave. It's the greatest country on earth. And if the good old US of A doesn't warrant a celebration, then really, what does? But we're not talking about rolling out the barbecue and running around with sparklers. It's not a once-a-year thing. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Because a single day just isn't enough. We're talking a 2-plus-year extravaganza dedicated to a single idea, America's greatest idea, the National Park Service. And in 2016, it's turning 100. Our National Park Service is revered by all, open to all, and enjoyed by all. There are no blue parks or red parks, only American parks. From iconic giants to 400 other sites dedicated to everything from history and recreation to human ingenuity and the struggle for justice. As part of the festivities, we'll be kicking off a movement to support America's national parks, a nationwide crusade that will introduce the parks to a whole new generation of Americans. In fact, literally redefining what the word park means. Is it possible to redefine such a word? We think so, and we're going to prove it with Find Your Park, a mass awareness, multifaceted program that will demonstrate that a park, a national park, is way more than most of us previously imagined. Find Your Park will be everywhere, from traditional and multicultural media outlets like TV, print, and out-of-home, to must-be-there platforms like digital, social engagement, and activation. We'll be educating people on the mission of the National Park Service and its official nonprofit partner, the National Park Foundation, while inviting each and every American to find their park, be it a place, a feeling, a sense of pride, a lesson learned, a playground of epic proportions, or perhaps even all of the above. There will be challenges, discoveries, and invitations for people to submit their own stories. Find Your Park will touch grade schools, universities, and local communities, both urban and rural, across the country. Corporate partners will also be getting involved like never before. Celebrity talent? We'll have plenty of that too. An A-list of musicians, actors, artists, and authors. Does it warrant a parade? You bet. And we've got it covered. A TV series? That's in the works too. An IMAX movie? Why not? Quite simply, Find Your Park will infiltrate and work its glorious tendrils into every corner of pop culture and beyond. The question really is, why wouldn't you want to be part of this unique time in the continually evolving story of America? Join the movement by supporting the national parks. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be the celebration of the century. It starts now, and with your help, it'll propel us forward for another 100 years.
That high-energy sizzle reel outlines some of the things that we have going on, and we invite the Tri-Cities areas to join us and to take advantage of the centennial, because what we want to do is exactly what has been happening here this week. We want to increase Americans' understanding of the breadth and depth of the national park system. We want to encourage people to visit, learn, explore, and discuss their national parks. And we think no other place will be better than coming here to the Tri-Cities and to experience the Manhattan Project National Historical Park. So we look forward to working with all of you as we invite people to find their parks here. We think that you've created a powerful legacy, and together we have a very, very bright future. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Chip. We are looking forward to forging that strong partnership with you, and I'm pretty sure the centennial could be bigger, brighter, and bolder here in the Tri-Cities. What do y'all think? Okay, that was exhilarating. Let's move on to the next. The Visit Tri-Cities Excellence and Service Award was designed to encourage all those who interface with visitors and customers to go above and beyond and to exceed their patrons' expectations and to formally recognize those who exemplify the ideal in providing excellent service. We greatly appreciate Battelle stepping forward again this year to sponsor the Excellence in Service Award. Battelle's Karen Blaisdell has chaired this committee for 3 years, coordinating and contributing many hours of her time and creativity in building the program. And Battelle generously sponsors the grand prize for the award. Karen, please join me to present this year's awards.
Thank you, Suzanne. So all the nominees can be proud of the jobs they do and the important role that they play in the businesses that they work for, helping them to remain successful. We judge the nominations based on a stringent set of criteria. Does the nominee serve as an example to others? Do they provide exemplary customer service? And do they assist in creating a memorable visitor experience? I can tell you that both the individual and the company award winners demonstrated the ability to exceed on all 3 of these standards. Our Excellence in Service individual winner was nominated by an event planner. Having planned many events myself, I can tell you how many things can go wrong if you don't have the right support team working with you. The best service people I've worked with have been those that think about the little things, that think about the customer and anticipate their needs before they know it. For them, the term VIP customer does not exist. It's redundant. To them, the customer means VIP. Regardless of their social status or their budget, you are a patron of their business, and so you are very important. This year's winner personifies this philosophy. She leads by example and insists that every detail and request from the customer be delivered at the highest level. If you are a customer, especially an event planner, that's the kind of person you want on your side. As a result of this commitment to detail, our Excellence in Service Award winner has amassed a following of loyal customers. These customers return to her place of business over and over and share their positive experience with others. That's exactly what we're looking for in the Excellence in Service Award program. Barista Wine Club from Spokane came to the Tri-Cities for an overnight vineyard tour. The visit included a tour of Red Mountain Vineyards and a wine pairing dinner. The wine club was impressed with the perfection that they experienced in the pairing of the wines to the culinary talents, the chef's culinary talents. But what really moved the co-owner of Barista to nominate this person was the elegant French-style picnic that the winner organized, complete with table under a white canopy with matching linens and table settings, not at a hotel or a restaurant, but right in the middle of Clipson Vineyard. The nomination form states, the feedback and comments we received from our wine club members was that they had never had such a memorable experience. The attention to detail and anticipating the guest needs were impeccable. As a result of this event, the winery booked 2 additional trips, and they were sold out immediately. Providing great customer service really does help grow the tourism industry in the Tri-Cities. Please join me in congratulating Monica Hammerberg, General Manager, Red Lion Hotel, Pasco. So now we'll go on to the business category. This year's winner in the business category has been highly visible in our community since 2000. From the very beginning, the company supported tourism and Visit Tri-Cities efforts by committing staff time and resources to the Tri-City Sports Council. In fact, their willingness to contribute their place of business as home to the WIAA athletic competitions has translated into multiple statewide tournaments being hosted here in the Tri-Cities in May each year. The individual who nominated this company tells a story of a group of customers who had made advanced plans to have an evening out. When they showed up, they realized that they showed up on the wrong date. So if you can picture a local athletic event that attracts about 2,300 fans during the peak season, you can imagine how busy the staff were. But rather than turning the group away, the staff member reached out to their manager, who accommodated the group. Even with a sold-out stadium, no questions asked. That's just how this winning company does business. They empower their employees, which most of them are part-time and seasonal. The company philosophy is, wow, fun, yes. Wow. Wow the guests by exceeding expectations. Fun. Have fun at work. Yes. Exemplify a yes attitude in everything you do. Please join me in congratulating the Tri-Cities Dust Devils as this year's Excellence in Service Award in the company category. Brent Miles and Daryl Ebert, will you please come forward? Congratulations to our 2015 Excellence in Service Award winners.
Well, every year, we also recognize an individual or group in the Tri-Cities that has contributed to enhancing our tourism portfolio. Rob Roxburgh, representing our annual meeting sponsor, WRPS, will announce this year's award. Please join me in welcoming Rob.
Thank you, Suzanne. It's my honor to be with you this afternoon. The Tourism Champion of the Year is the most prestigious and honored award that Visit Tri-Cities extends each year. The winner is always an individual or organization that has provided leadership in the tourism industry and supported the Bureau's efforts. And this year's award goes to a very deserving group of people. The theme of this year's annual meeting, Powerful Legacy, Bright Future, is a celebration of the creation of the Manhattan Project National Historical Park and the impact that it will have moving forward on the tourism industry. The designation of a national park in our community, it's a big deal, especially for tourism. It's expected that once the park is up and running, it will attract as many as 100,000 visitors a year to our community. The inclusion of the Hanford and B reactor as part of the multi-site park was not a given, however. In fact, this community and our congressional delegation, well, they had to work very hard at it. But what I want to focus on here today is that small core group of people that had this vision early on and then had the strong-willed determination to go out and make that happen. Recognizing the benefits to tourism, Visit Tri-Cities became involved early on. But this group of seemingly unaffiliated individuals, mostly from outside the tourism industry, simply had a love for the history of the B reactor and a strong belief that the story of the Manhattan Project needed to be told. So B, as it is affectionately called, is a pretty big part of that story, don't you agree? Of course, there were many challenges along the way and a number of victories. First, in order to tell the story, it was important, as you heard Chip say, to save the B reactor from deconstruction. Even with the support of the Department of Energy, it was an all-out battle. But in 2008, the B reactor was declared a National Historical Landmark, and then in 2009, DOE announced that public tours would be made available at the site. Now, at that time, there was certainly no way that even the most optimistic of supporters could have predicted the popularity and demand for those seasonal tours that happened at the B reactor. With 10,000 available seats selling out in just minutes each season, it became very evident there was great demand to hear this story. And with attendance by visitors from all 50 states and 39 countries across the globe within the first 2 years, the impact for the future of tourism was clear. But there is more to the Manhattan Project story than just the B reactor. The story of the sacrifices of the settlers along the Columbia River, the town of White Bluffs, and Hanford is also significant. The Bruggeman Ranch, the old Hanford High School, and the White Bluffs Bank also add to that story, but they too would be needed to be saved from the elements of time. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., Senators Patty Murray and Maria Cantwell and Congressman Doc Hastings were all doing their part to establish the National Historical Park. Our local group of die-hard enthusiasts launched public relations campaigns, provided tours, and lobbied for support at every opportunity they could find. It was truly a group effort, with individuals from the states of Tennessee, New Mexico, and Washington collectively working together, lobbying numerous congressional offices in both the House and the Senate. Then, finally, in December of last year, Congress passed the legislation allowing for the creation of the Manhattan Project National Historical Park. What had been years of conference calls, visits to the Hill, planning and strategizing had finally paid off. Now the real work has begun, and that work will continue moving forward. And what of our group of tourism heroes? Well, they couldn't be happier, I'm sure. They continue to work together and separately to do their part to make sure that our segment of the Manhattan Project National Historical Park is a very complete success. So please join me in congratulating Colleen French with DOE, Gary Peterson with Tridec, Maynard Blahuda with Burma, and Pam Larson, City of Richland, as this year's Visit Tri-Cities Tourism Champions of the Year.
So they said I should go first, but let me do this a little differently if I could. The four of us were just one of 26 people across the United States that made all those phone calls and so on. But if we could, would you bear with me just a little bit? What I'd like to do is ask every person in this audience who had somebody here, 1943 through 1950, stand up. Stand up if you had family here during that period. These are the people who created that national park. I say thank you to each of you.
We called ourselves the B Reactor Team, and for 11 years we worked together. When we interacted with our counterparts in Los Alamos and Oak Ridge, we would generally meet at the Tridec boardroom or conference room, and we really worked together. We weren't separate. And Chris needs to have one of these because Visit Tri-Cities has been a very integral part. And I want you to know at one point in the process, the National Parks was only going to include one site. And I believe it was Los Alamos. And they were going to leave out Oak Ridge and Hanford. And the three communities went nuts. And they came together and they said, we're all part of this, and we're all going to be part of the park. And we are.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to tell you how grateful I am to be part of a community that cares so much about its heritage and is so focused on a common goal. It's really overwhelming. It was only 2008 when I stood up here with Chris and gave her a golden ticket for our first series of tours in the B reactor in 2009, and look where we are today. I'm pretty sure that there's nothing we can't do. Thank you.
Well, I too thank all of you, but we got to remember that was back in 1990 and thereabouts when there's about 17 individuals who actually started Burma. And those people are the ones that really need to be thanked today. If it weren't for them and the persistence that they did, I came late in the thing, probably 2000 or so. The effort that people put forth at that time is the key issue, because that reactor would be cocooned today if it weren't for those original people who started the Burma organization. So thank you all, and we appreciate the service and the support that the whole community has provided all along through this journey. Thank you.
And so, sincere congratulations to our tourism champions. They really are the visionaries for recognizing the benefits to all of us in sharing our unique heritage. You know, their energy and passion created other champions for our national treasure. And the culmination of their work in the Manhattan Project National Historic Park provides an excellent and vibrant example of how through common goals and individual contributions to the tourism industry and to our whole quality of life here in the Tri-Cities and across those other cities. But we here are contributing to such a bolder, brighter, and better Tri-Cities. And so now the business of our annual meeting is complete, and the tourism trade show reception can begin. So let me give you just a couple of logistics. When you enter the reception area and the trade show area in the other half of the Great Hall, you're going to be given 2 beverage tickets and a tourism passport. The tickets can be redeemed for some beverage of your choice, and those stations are available and staged throughout the area there. And when you visit the booths, you have your passports to be stamped for the different designated areas. And once your passport is completed, you should drop it in the basket that's next to the Visit Tri-Cities sales booth. That's located right in the center of that area. And you'll be entered into a drawing for some great grand prizes. But be sure to get your passport stamped because about 5:45, I think they're going to start giving out those awards. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great time over there. Thanks for coming.